wave, mechanical or non-mechanical, is given by a very simple relationship that speed is equal to frequency multiplied by wavelength. Now if we attempt to find out the speed of matter waves, we'll be writing frequency as E over h, making use of the classical relation, that is E is equal to hf, and lambda will be writing using de Broglie relationship, that is h by p. Now when we make substitution for energy as mc square, a very famous relationship, Einstein's mass energy equivalence relation, so we write E as mc square and momentum of the particle as mv, so we get expression for speed of matter waves as c square by v, where v is the speed of the moving body. Now we know from the theory of relativity that any body cannot have speed more than the speed of light. So this denominator term, which is v, will be always less than c, which is the speed of light in vacuum. Hence we arrive at the conclusion that speed of matter wave is more than the speed of light. Now here, whenever I share this point and when we work out the derivation, most of us are confused because of the very famous statement from theory of relativity that nothing can travel with speed more than the speed of light. That is, the highest speed we have known so far is the speed of light. Now the relativity puts this restriction on a moving body, not for a wave. So let's remind ourselves, the theory of relativity puts this restriction that no body can travel with speed more than the speed of light. Now this is a restriction for material or a body or a particle, not for a wave. Relativity theory doesn't put any restriction on the speed of waves. So let's accept it as a natural consequence, and we have proved it mathematically that speed of matter waves is more than the speed of light. Now as you will enter into engineering, and from engineering principle we know that any wave having speed more than the speed of light will not be useful for communication, as it cannot carry any audio or video signal. So this point remains still valid, that the fastest communication which is possible is with the speed of light, even though if we have matter waves, so they cannot be exploited for the purpose of communication. Now in ordinary day-to-day life, we don't talk of matter waves or de Broglie waves, because if we consider the common objects which are moving around us, the cricket ball, the bus, the train, the aeroplanes, a boy running on the field. So if we just take up the common situation where bodies are moving, we find that the de Broglie wavelength associated is very, very small, because the value of Planck's constant is very small. If you just look at the order, it is 10 to the power minus 34. Just to appreciate the point, let's make calculation for de Broglie wavelength of a cricket ball, and let's make substitution, and let's take the average values. So lambda will be equal to h over mv. When we just make substitution, we get the value as very, very small. So the wavelength of de Broglie waves is very, very small, not of any significance or consequence in day-to-day situation. The other thing that we have to understand, now we can say particle has dual nature. Sometimes it behaves like wave and sometimes it behaves like particle. In ordinary situation, we ignore the wave nature and it is the particle nature which is dominating, but there may be situation where the particle may behave like wave. So as it is well established that radiation has dual nature, so we can say matter has also dual nature. Sometimes it behaves like wave and sometimes it behaves like particle. The fundamental point that we have to understand, these two natures are mutually exclusive. That means we cannot design experiment where the two natures will be exhibited. That is, either the given experimental condition will favor particle nature or will favor wave nature. We cannot design any experiment which will bring out or which will favor both the nature of matter as well as radiation. So what is valid for radiation is equally valid for matter also.